And it is 2026, and what time is it? It is time for us to kick off this year's Agents in the Trenches, and I am so excited to be able to be in this space in this space, bringing the relaunch of what we have created across several years now in Agents in the Trenches, a space and the place where we talk about the real, raw realities of what happens in the trenches, those people that are in the front lines, those people that are doing the heavy lifting, the heavy pushing, and everything else in between. And you all know that when we started Agents in the Trenches in 2022, we were in a different market. We knew the market was going to change. We knew there were uncertainties that were going to be coming along. But now we are in the shifted market, and I say it's a new era. And so today I am super excited to be able to kick off the 2026 episodes and version of Agents in the Trenches. And without further ado, I want to tell you, listen, there's so many exciting things happening in our marketplace, in our region. This is not only seen by Southwest Florida, but we want the whole nation to know, and even the international market to know, that we have some high level players in our area. I know we're not New York. I know we're not California, but guess what? We are the best coast of Florida, and that is the West Coast. I always say the West Coast is the best coast of Florida. So I want to kick it off with someone that, I've been watching for many years. Life brought us together, and she is a mega high performer, a woman that has really been in the trenches, a woman that has set the pace, and a woman that has paved the way for so many other people. And I love when I see pioneers not just rising to the top, but bringing other people with them. So before I bring her on, I want to show you a little snippet about what she's going to be doing this Friday, because we want that room to be packed for her keynote speaking. It's going to be a powerful moment. So let's go ahead and kick off that snippet, and you'll be so excited to meet her.
I'm Lauren Maxwell, and I am so excited to be a keynote speaker at Mind Your Business. I am living the American dream. I started my business in 1987 at the very bottom of my field. I am in a very different place in 2025. I'd love to share with you my ups and downs and how I made it to the top. So when John Huffman called me and asked me to be a speaker at Mind Your Business, it was an easy answer, yes. Come see me. Looking forward to it. January 23rd, 2026 at the Luminary Hotel. Let's do this.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So here she is. Here she is. Lauren, welcome. How are you, Lauren?
Me. Hi, everybody. Good morning and happy Tuesday on this beautiful cold day.
And it is chilly. It is chilly. Lauren, you said something in that video that caught my attention, and I love how you articulated, your trajectory. You said, I've been through ups and downs, and I started at the bottom, and my life is very different today. So let's kick it off, because I always like to go deep in my conversations with my guests, because that's really where we learn about the human side of success, right? We see so many people saying about their success, and we see their glory, but we don't know their story. Take us back to 1987. What caused you to start at the bottom? Like, what was that bottom like? What did it look like?
Well, when I say bottom, I didn't know anything about the mortgage business. I had just gotten out of 2 years of college, and my mother said to me, Karen Glazer, she was the only woman mortgage banker in the state of Massachusetts. They were grade school friends. She said, Karen, just heard you got out of college. Why don't you give her a call? Maybe you'll get in the mortgage business. I didn't know what a mortgage was. So when I say start at the bottom, not knowing anything about a field, and truthfully, when you're 19 years old and you graduate, from 2 years of school, you don't really know much about anything. So I went for this interview and I got the job, and I started at the very bottom, because when they were talking to me about Fannie Mae and products, I thought Fannie Mae was a chocolate. So when I tell you I was clueless, I was clueless. That's how I started my career in May of 1987. That
Wow.
being said, I would take loans in. And again, I knew nothing, but I was cute knocking on doors. So back then, all realtors worked in like houses, little houses. They would have offices, and you knock on a door and you'd have rate sheets in your hand. And, it was all about a personality thing, just like it is today. So that's how I started.
Wow. So when you first got into this industry, I mean, you just said I knew nothing about it. I thought Fannie Mae was a chocolate. It's like when I got into real estate, I didn't know what a FISBO was. I said, "What's a FISBO?" I mean,
You're going fishing.
yes. What was your morning routine like, right? So you're 19 years old, and here you are doing something that you have no clue, but it was something that had to kick in for you because, I mean, you have to start somewhere. Where was that starting point that got you really building that traction?
Well, I felt really independent, getting in a car and driving to different sales areas every day and meeting people. I've always liked people. Anybody who knows me, who sees me, knows I love talking to people. I love hearing their story. Just like you ask stories, I get to know people. I ask questions. So I started taking in the business. The problem was because I was never really trained and didn't know anything, I was relying on processors and underwriters to tell me yes and no. So I would take in 10 deals and maybe one would close because I didn't know guidelines. I didn't know anything. So when I moved to Florida at the end of 1988, I decided instead of me knocking on doors, I went to work for a bank. And I said, you know what? I'll take a step back and I'm going to learn everything. And I went to be a processor at a bank. And I started out at $17,000 a year, which I actually made more in sales, even though I was only closing one at a time. But I didn't care because it wasn't the point. I was disappointing people and I didn't understand why. So the why is I loved what I did. I love people, but I really needed to learn from the bottom to see what makes the loan go through. Why are other people closing the loans? I'm bringing in the business, but I'm only closing 10, 20% of what I'm bringing in. So I learned at that point, I was working for a bank on 41. And I remember, I think I started with them in about, I don't know, I want to say maybe November of 1988. And I started and I loved it. And I really picked it up because I knew I could talk to people, I could talk to builders. I knew what they were looking for, but now I could read the guidelines on how to put it together.
Wow. So you knew enough to take a step to the side, go build your skills, go build your knowledge. And then what would you say was that defining thing that happened? What was the defining moment that you knew, okay, I'm on my way now. Now I'm on my way.
Well, I loved it. I didn't know where I would end up, where I would go, but I really loved what I did. And about a year later, Centex Mortgage, CTX Mortgage came to town. And they asked me to open up and be an operations manager and just take loans for the builder. And I worked in a trailer on Davis Boulevard in 1989. And so I kind of moved up because I was now at that point, I think they gave me a salary. I thought I was doing amazing of like $2,500 a month and then a little bit of piece of everything I took. And then I learned from there. I was an operations manager. I learned how to close loans. I learned how to process loans. I learned how to underwrite loans. I basically did everything for that builder over the next 5 years. And I ended up realizing how important customer service was. And I had a 99% capture rate of anybody who bought a home through Centex Homes that I closed the loan for CTX Mortgage. And so I guess I never had it out where, people today, they look and they just want to be rich, right?
Mm-hmm.
They want to drive the best cars. They want to buy the biggest house, their first house. They want it to be everything that they see, other people have. And I guess in my days, we were happy to have a job. We were happy to have knowledge. And I grew as baby steps. I remember when I was able to get rid of a little Mustang and I was able to buy a Nissan Maxima. That was a really big deal. And then from the Nissan Maxima, I bought the small little Lexus. And at that point, I really thought I was a millionaire, even though I was still barely making six figures. But I appreciated every journey, as I still do today. So I wasn't money motivated. I really loved being knowledgeable, helping people. and I wanted to be great in my field. So when I got plaques and it was 99% capture rate, that was a really big deal for the company. And I just wanted to do great in whatever I did and whatever I learned. In 1994, Pulte Homes came to town, and our sales manager of CTX and Tex Homes went to Pulte, and they brought me there to start their mortgage company for them in Lee County, guys, at Gulf Harbor. So remember Gulf Harbor when Pulte came to town? And so that's about taking risks. At that point, I had a salary of about $60,000 for my other company. I was there. I was making a little bit of commission. My husband did not want me to leave. My parents thought I was crazy. And I just felt that I could do better. And so I did that for about a year and a half. And then they were not a very good company, their mortgage company. Pulte's terrific. Their mortgage company still today is not a great company. I'm their backup lender. I ended up going into the retail field, which I do today. I had a guy who came and found me, and he taught me. He had me buy a building, and the company, Market Street Mortgage, I opened up a branch. I had now basically almost no salary. It was almost all commission. I think I got a $2,000 a month draw. But I knew I could do it because I already had all of that knowledge now behind me. But when I tell you Rome wasn't built in a day, it wasn't built in a day. So in February of 1996, I closed on a building, opened up an office. And then from there, I started growing a little bit at a time. And again, I never looked back. I was a solo person for a long time. I had one assistant. And then I realized that to be even bigger and better, I had to be able to grow my team. And I was scared to. I didn't want to let go of that control. And eventually I did. But from February of 96, so are you guys understanding this? So it was May of 87 when I graduated and went into this business to all the way to February of 96 that it really took me to be my own brand.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's break this down a little bit because we have another guest that's going to be joining us for this amazing conversation because, we're all doing something. I think we're all doing something to make a difference, right? We all want to get to that next level, whatever level we're at, there's always a next level. And we're all, saying, okay, what can I do to make a difference? So let me ask you this. It took you 10 years. I mean, everything you just told us was 10 years. I mean, you told it to us in less than 10 minutes. Tell us what your morning or daily routine was like, because behind this glory, right, of story that you have, there's also a lot of grit. There's also a lot of hustle. Well, what was your routine every day like?
Well, in between that, just, I had 2 children as well. But every day I was never at the office past 8:30 in the morning. And I worked. And then I worked. So, I call people now and like at 8:30 or 9 o'clock. No offense, realtors, mortgage people, I'm calling a recruit. They're still sleeping.
My gosh.
To make money and to be successful in business, you have to be, at the point when my kids were a little older, I was at the gym first and then there. So, taking care of yourself, taking care of your family and being at the office early. Early bird catches the worm, but it really is true. Being at the office is very important, starting your routine, starting your calls, being accessible to people. If I had a cold or a cough, I did not call in sick. That just was, we're a little softer in this generation, okay? We just are. I'm going to call it spade a spade. I love you all. But it was a little, I worked my ass off. When I would go home and put the kids to bed, after we'd have dinner together, I'd put them to it, I would drive back to my office.
Wow.
You didn't work remote back in the days, okay?
Yes.
I would literally be at my office. One time I hit a deer coming back from my office because the roads were, it was crazy. I locked myself in the office at 1 o'clock in the morning. Thank gosh I had my cell phone. I had to call my husband. He had to get a neighbor to come and sit there with the kids so he could come and get me in there. It was the weirdest thing. Anyway, there were things that happened, but I was always working, growing myself, learning, being in training. You have to keep up with programs, with guidelines. You have to keep in touch with the market when you sell houses. There's different things. And when you don't and you go stagnant and just think people are going to knock on your door because it's a busy market, when the market stops and it's not busy, guess what? They stop knocking on your door. Now, what are you going to do if you're not used to hustling and working and being part of your community and being involved in everything in your career, in your business? So knowledge, when I tell you knowledge is power and grit is power.
Yes. I like the way you are very diplomatic in saying that this generation is very soft, right? But you know what? There are fundamentals. The other morning I was thinking about you, and I remember during the pandemic, you would show up because you and I would speak in 2020. You've helped me with very significant loans that people in my family have gotten. You've helped me help people that were like at a totally impossible situation. So, since then, and you've always had exceptional work ethic, my friends, exceptional work ethic. And the other morning I was thinking about you and I said, you know what, I'm going to have to start doing what Lauren does, which is show up at the office before 8:30 every morning, because believe it or not, there's something that happens when you act like that. So what do you have to say to the people that still think that working from home is productive, that, we're going to do everything from home? What is your mindset? Because I know you work all the time, but you have a beautiful office. You show up before 8:30. Tell us about that work ethic. Where does that come from?
My dad is 82 years old and he still works. He's one of my salespeople. He's been with me for 27 years.
Wow.
He's always been a worker. My mom is going to be 80 in April. She still works. So she sells like those cancer policies, insurance. So they're both keeping your brain active. I love to work. So like, you've heard this before. People say, when are you going to retire? I'm like, when I die. Look when I die in a file, I'll drop dead right here at my desk in a file. I don't plan on ever not working. It keeps your brain going. So I don't know, maybe I got it from my parents. I love what I do, and loving what you do and helping people and knowing you make a difference, because I really feel like I make a difference. It's not to, I'm not trying to give me kudos or anything, but I have changed people's lives because they tell me, and I love it. I get so much satisfaction of the person who came to me at birth with that 500 credit score. We got them to a 580 or 600. I was able to get them down payment assistance. They could buy a house for $2,000. It changes their life. And it makes me so happy because, listen, we all want home ownership and we all just want to be heard. And so many people, when they don't have money or they have bad credit, are just not heard. And I just don't think that's right. Can you imagine them walking into a bank and saying, hey, I know my balance is $300 and my credit's $600, but can you help me buy a house? They would be laughed out of the bank.
Right. That's so true. And I love everything you've said, because it's really at the core of who you have become today. Because you said it best on that video. My life is not the same, right? My life is no longer the same. What do you feel has been your greatest accomplishment in 2025? Something that just every time you think about it, your heart swells and it makes you smile.
Oh, there's a lot of things. And by the way, guys, in between this, up until from that 1996 till now, I've had a lot of downs as well. We can get into that another time, but I have 3 grandbabies. They make me smile. I have an amazing 16-year-old daughter that I only have a year and a half left with before she goes off to college. Those things make me happy. We had a record year for my company. All of my salespeople did great. We had one of the best years. So I wish I could just say one thing, but my life is very complete. I feel so good. If I, God forbid, did die tomorrow, I can rest in peace, know that I've raised wonderful children that will be able to be fine in life, and they'll have funny memories about their mom because they all have fun stories about me because I'm a little, I'm me. So everything about 2025, I wish I could say, oh, I bought a building. So I'm in this building now. So we're building a beautiful lunch and learn room for all you amazing realtors, a podcast studio. So there's a lot of different things. I can't say one thing. My life is very amazing. Today, it wasn't always this way. I have a phenomenal husband. So, again, one day you're going to have me on and you're going to say, okay, what are all the negatives and how did you get here? Because I think it's important to say, the way I am today, I've been through a lot of downs as well. I've lost everything when the crash happened. I've been through a divorce. There were things that have happened. I made a company change 8 years ago. It was a disaster. I wanted to drive my car into a pole. Really, that's how bad it was. No, seriously, Lucy. So it's not always great, and I can share with you, but and I think it's important to everybody know. I don't wait. This has not been my life since I've been a teenage girl. I've been through a lot of trials and tribulations. It's how you handle the woe is me part. And that's not ever woe is me, no matter what's going on in your life. You show up with a smile.
And you always
that's my
smile.
one bit of advice.
And you always smile. And yes, there are a lot of trials and tribulations, but your fundamentals, your work ethic, your mindset. I mean, we're going to have to make a woman's conference and just bring you and spend a day with Lauren, because, there's so many people around us that deserve to win, that deserve success, that deserve to go to that next level, but they self-sabotage with their mindset, with their performance, with what they do day in and day out, instead of, like you just said, I mean, you go through trials and tribulations, but you get up, you dust yourself off, you continue to smile. Trust me, if anybody has gotten a master's walking through hell, it's me. I think I can literally say I have a master's in what it is to walk through hell. But one thing that I've always known is, number one, be grateful. Number two, have faith. And number three, walk quickly so you could get to the other side.
And for anybody listening, especially, I don't want to say especially women, because it happens with men, but guys, who you surround yourself with really matters. And if you're in we'll get to the friendship after, but if you're in any form of a relationship with your partner, whether it's a spouse, significant other, is trying to sabotage you or hold you back, when I tell you run, you need to run far. Because one of the reasons I feel that I've been able to lift up and come up in the world is because anybody who's in my life lifts me up and helps. We're a village. And anybody who's brought me down, and I've had to get them out of my life, because
Wow.
that's really a killer in there. And I've seen people that they stay down, their husbands or wives want them home by 6 o'clock at night for dinner, or they don't want them going to this event or that event. And you know what? If they can't be there to support you and they're that insecure, that's not love. I don't care what they say. I love you so much. I just want to be with you. I don't want you here because I love you so much. I'm jealous because I love you so much. That's their insecurity. And when I tell you run, it will never get better. And that will be my one bit of advice to anybody on here today.
And that is so true. So listen, we have someone else in the green room that we're going to bring up. And this fine gentleman, you and him know each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy how the world is so small. And I've had him on Agents in the Trenches before. So I'm super excited to bring on a top performer, top producer, mega player from the Naples area, Joshua Otto. Hello, Joshua. Welcome. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Excellent. How's your 2026 kicking off?
It's going well. Yeah, it's going well. Closed out 2025 very well. And a big part of it was the middle of last year, I started really pushing my YouTube channel. And
nice.
I started coming out with content on that. I was trying out everything. I was trying out YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and where I really started to get people actually calling me and getting leads off of it was my YouTube.
Wow.
And at one point, I actually almost gave it up. And I was thinking because I wasn't getting anything off and nobody was calling me. I was thinking is this really working? Maybe I should give this up, try a different venture. That day I had 3 people call me.
Nice.
Off of a video I did, and 2 of them were between $2 to $3 million budget. And another person was like a $400,000 piece of land. So,
Ooh,
that's
awesome.
right there. I just felt like God was telling me nope, keep going down this path, So, but my 2026 is starting off pretty good.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, what do you think about my conversation with Lauren? I know you guys know each other, and we're over here having a conversation because she's a keynote speaker at an incredible event. So what do you think about her tidbits and her, tips that she gave everyone?
I really loved it. I really loved hearing Lauren, just the way you started and, everything you did and how hard you worked to get to where you are today. And, it's really cool. It's very inspirational. I met you when I first got my license from Larry, who's a mutual friend of ours who sadly passed. But it was really cool because you told me like this is the best lender in the area. Like you'll love her. I remember I had a buyer who I couldn't get a loan closed, and he was like, "You got to meet Lauren." And it was just really cool hearing all that, Lauren. That was really cool. And I definitely will take some of that just whenever it comes to the work ethic part and just the stories you said. That was really cool.
Thanks, Josh.
No, you're welcome, Lauren. So, and then Friday, I know you're doing that event. I think I'm going to be there too.
Great.
I'm going to have to come join you guys. Actually, I was supposed to be in South America, and that was the only reason that I had not grabbed a ticket. But I think I'm going to grab a ticket because I want to be in that room. Tell us more, Lauren, about the event. Tell Joshua, myself, and all our audience who are watching. We've got a great audience watching. We've had over 20 people join us at some point on this podcast. And obviously, a lot of people are going to watch on replay. Tell us about this event. Who are the people that put it together? Give us a little bit of history on it. And of course, tell us about everything you're going to do.
So I was asked, so John Huffman puts it together. And he has people who have stories who really have started from not only the bottom, but they've hit rock bottom. Whether, I don't want to share their stories, but when I tell you they've hit rock bottom, I'll let them share, and how they've built themselves up in their business. I was on a panelist. I think I did it last year. And, being on a panel, with 5 guys, I'm used to being with men. In my company, we have, 9,000 people, and I have been fortunate enough to make the top 10 every year. And it's me and 9 guys. Okay. So I think they wanted a woman's, ideology of how she does it. Because we all, not that there's great things with men, but I didn't want to be on a panel. I said, that's not good use of my time. If you want to, do an interview with me or let me share my story, I think that's more going to be more beneficial for women or even for men. Because again, I didn't have money. I didn't start from family money. I started from the ground up. I've had, again, trials and tribulations. It didn't just all go well throughout the whole thing. And we've all been through the crash if we've been in this market before. And I'd like to share just how I came about. There's something I'm going to share that I normally don't, that even happened to me, as a teenager. So the finished product, Lauren Maxwell, was not born this way. It's taken a lot of things. And so I guess maybe if I can help somebody else who's maybe 25 or 30 not go through some of the negative things that I went through in my life, if I can help 2 people and tell them what to look for to not do, I hope that I will be beneficial for them. And to just always do the right thing, do what's true to you, not because other people tell you what to do, because nobody walks in your shoes. Everybody needs to stay in their lane, and you have to do what's right from your heart. And I really believe that, because if I listened to everybody else and the outside influences through my world, I would not be who I am today. So believing in yourself is very important. So whatever you need to do to really believe in yourself and be true to yourself, I would say is going to be my biggest takeaway in how I did it.
I love that. You have any questions for Lauren, Joshua?
No, not right now.
I know.
You can ask me, Josh, how I get all of your clients who have low credit scores and no money how to buy homes. Come on, man.
Okay, go for it. Go for it. I love
good.
that. Everybody wants to hear that because, I was selling I'm doing a lot of things, right? I'm doing a lot of things in the marketplace, and not just in Lee County, but, Lauren joined me as a Power exclusive partner in Lee County at the Academy. And, I'm going to Naples. I'll be in Naples tomorrow with our Winners Wednesday Productivity Bootcamp, Naples edition. I think it's time to cross bridges, cross-pollinate, grow together. I love what Lauren said about, the people you hang around with. And I want to ask the both of you, tell us more how putting yourself in the right rooms has really made a difference in your life and business. We'll kick it off with Lauren. Tell us more about that.
So as you become more successful or more well-known, you're invited to so many different things. And I used to be, okay, I don't want to disappoint them. I'm going to say yes to this, say yes to that. And I was out all the time and doing things that really weren't important to me spiritually, to my family or to my business. And I don't need to be a people pleaser anymore. So when you pick and choose who you surround yourself with, you don't have to say yes to everything. You can kindly say no when it has no benefit, for you or your community, again, spiritually, business, or family. So don't be part of every room just because you're invited, because it feeds your ego. And that took me for a couple of years. I did do that. And then I decided, no, I can't. I want to be where I'm going to either help people or something's going to help me. And so I love being part of community things. I'll do whatever I can to help a community. But if I go once and then doesn't fulfill me in any way, and I'm like, these people don't really care, it's only whether it's about money or to get a picture or something, I don't do it again. Right. So really make your notes, journal, make your notes of when they ask you again the following year, then it would be a hard no, kindly. Doesn't mean you can't give a little, even if it's $50 or a gift basket or $500, whatever but you don't have to be present in everything you're invited to go to. And I think that's real important as you grow in your field, because people will, a lot of people want to take, and then of course do things where it's a give and take. If it's only take year after year or event after event, at some point you're going to have to say, why am I doing this?
Yes. Joshua, how about you? Tell us about some of the rooms you've gotten into and how they've impacted your life or business, or both.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I remember when I first got my license and I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea how to get a client. I had no idea how to, just grow and just like even the foundation of it. I had no idea. And, I asked my broker for advice, and he just like, well, just go through the phone book and call A through Z. And that was the advice I got. And I did not like that advice very well. That was not, I to this day, I'm like, that was horrible advice. I had no idea what to do. And then I met, I met Larry, mutual friend of Lauren, and he introduced me to some of his people, and Larry really taught me the foundation of how I should build my business, how to get people I was a bartender, how to get people that already know me to work with me, how to get them to trust me as a professional. They already trust me as a person. How do I get them to trust me as a professional? Because that wasn't going on. And so he taught me those things. And that's just meeting him and then getting to meet some of the people that he knows, like Russ Lagan. And he helped me grow my business and grow my sphere of influence and grow, become better. That helped me grow in this business that at first I wasn't sure if I was even supposed to do it. And then I was able to start closing deals and getting people to work with me. And, and then like with my YouTube venture, I met a guy who is huge in the YouTube business in EXP, and he made over 7 figures a year just off his YouTube. So I learned from him, so just learning from people who are already successful and seeing the way that they do it, and, replicating it, but keeping original, stay original to yourself. But just doing that, going out and meeting people who are already successful, I think is huge and can make a huge impact on your business.
I have a question, Josh.
Sure.
I want to know how to do that. I would love it. I'll teach you some of my tricks. You teach me yours on YouTube.
Yeah, no, I would love to. It has really, it's made a huge difference. I'm not just saying it. Like I have people calling me every week off my YouTube right now.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So I would love that. That'd be awesome.
So here's what we could do, Lauren. As soon as your training center is ready, I will bring my Winners Wednesday Productivity Bootcamp Naples edition, and we will bring Joshua to give us a showdown on really how you put this together from the ground up, because I think obviously everybody gets a YouTube channel once you get a Gmail, right? It's automatically added in. But even myself, like I've been putting videos on YouTube since 2014.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go look me up and see how crazy I look? I would do it. My coach told me you got to start doing videos on YouTube, and I would, but that doesn't mean that I've been able to monetize it. And I know that there's a lot of people that are now not only getting leads but monetizing it. So what do you guys say? Is it a date for the future?
Sure. Yeah, I would love to.
It's a date. It's a date. Josh, I'm building a podcast studio too. It's going to be really cool. I'd love for you to come visit us. I remember when you first walked into my office and I met you in my old building going into my, I remember like it was yesterday. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I know. I can remember it too. Like it doesn't. I was a brand new father at that point. Now I got two. That's wild. It's wild.
Crazy.
So check this out. We already have people that are watching that say, yes, I want to go to that class. We need to put on that class. We need to put on that class, and we need to, just become those lighthouses in our area, right? With everything Lord knows. Joshua, how long have you been in real estate?
2019. So
okay,
7 years now. Yep.
Time flies, huh?
Yeah.
Time
Yeah.
flies.
It'll be March of 2019. So I'm almost 7 years in.
Wow.
Yep. I was a brand new father, and I was bartender forever. Since I got out of high school, I got a bartending job, and literally I wasn't even able to drink, but I was serving drinks to people. And once I became a father, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm working. I get in at work at 4 o'clock, and I'm getting home at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm literally, once my kid gets into school, I knew I'll never see her. I will never see her. I'll be lucky if I ever see her. And one thing for me is my goal was, like growing up, we always had family dinners, and I'm like, I would love to have, just be able to share me. I don't need to have dinner every single night. There's going to be nights where I'm doing showings or whatever, because people get off of work late, and I'm going to be doing showings. But at least if I could be there, 75% of the time, 80% of the time, that would make me happy rather than 0% of the time. So that was my motivating factor into it. Just a little backstory for me. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's nice. Well, I want to respect Lauren's time and your time, Joshua. So what do you want to say to our audience? What is that, burning desire that you want, not just our local market, but national and international market, to know about you this year, and maybe one tip?
Yeah. Be findable. Be findable. Yep. And that's what I'm trying to do with my YouTube. And because ChatGPT nowadays, someone go on ChatGPT and look up who is the best realtor in Southwest Florida, and it's going to spit someone out there, and that's who they're going to go with. So you need to be findable. You need to be huge on your online presence. You need to be huge on. That's why I'm doing my YouTube. That's what motivated me, was to do my YouTube, because it's owned by Google, and if you Google something, usually a YouTube video pops up.
Wow.
So now I'm pushing everyone do my reviews on my Google rather than I used to do Zillow. I'm not really doing Zillow reviews. Now I'm like, do Google review, because I know that ChatGPT is going to scrub through that. They may scrub through Zillow, but more than likely they're going to find Google. So be findable. Be findable. So stack those Google.
Be findable. I just wrote that down. Lauren, what is in your heart? What do you want everyone to know about you, 2026? And that one tip that you want everybody to know?
Well, I think there's a lot of realtors on here, correct? And title people, or who's on here? So
we've got different industries, 12 different businesses from the industries, including realtors, team leaders, brokers. Yes.
All right. Well, for the realtors and title companies, accountants, financial planners, number one, I'm having a big event Friday where I'll be speaking about hopefully how to build your business. If there's any advice I can give you, please, you'll ask me after. On February 26th, I have an invitation only to real estate companies, title companies, financial planners. We're the number one non-QM, which means non-qualified mortgage lender in the whole country, which means the asset loans, foreign national loans, 1099 loans, bank statement loans, everything, not your typical loan. I'm bringing in my corporate office because we do billions of dollars in that business a year. You never have to say no to your clients. There's something for everyone. Learn the market so you can know when you call me, you should never, anybody you're in front of, never say no. And to everybody else who owns a business, answer your phone.
Oh my goodness.
Answer your email. Don't just always say text me. Not everybody over 40 wants to text. Okay? I'm just letting you know, there are so many clients who call me. When I pick up my phone, they go, oh my gosh, I can't believe you picked up your phone. And I build a client because we know they're not picking up the phone at Suncoast or at Chase or a lot of mortgage companies. They don't pick up their phone. They want you to leave a message. So when I tell you accountability and being available to somebody, and answering your email before you leave. I don't never go home without every email answered and every phone call. And when I get home, I never go to bed until every email is answered. I will talk to clients at 10 at night. Anyway, I know I might be a little crazy, but you want to be number one?
Yes.
Then act like it and make sure everybody knows you're just as important.
Say it louder for the people in the back of the room. Answer the phone. Read your emails.
One more thing. This is important because I ask when a client calls me and I say how they were referred to me. They said, I saw you at your name was at an open house. I said, did you call that real estate agent, back now that you're searching? They go, no, because every time I call, it goes to voicemail. And I'm afraid that if I list my house, they won't answer their phone.
Oh.
So it's the same thing. Clients do their research before they list. And if you never answer your phone, then they go with somebody who does.
Absolutely. And Joshua, you said it so powerfully, be findable. I made a decision actually last year, and now this year I am doubling down. I will not do anything behind 4 walls and a closed door anymore, because we are in a world where we have to be findable. We have to be reachable. We have to be immediacy minded. I call it immediacy minded. Like you text somebody, I have this question. In closing, I have this question. I go, where do real estate people and mortgage people and title people that are not like Lauren, where do they put their phones? Like, where could you possibly put your phone that you don't look at it for hours? I wonder, I'm like, how do you even separate from the phone for so long? Because the world that we live in is a world of immediacy. Don't you guys agree?
Oh yeah,
100%.
for sure. Mm-hmm.
I just had to go to a volleyball tournament. Yes. 7,000 girls. We were in Ocala, right? Friday night. I came home yesterday. I mean, I'm on my work email then, I don't put an out of office either. Because then if I have an out of office, they're going to go to somebody else. I have 3 people manning my emails when I can't get to them and taking my calls, because I always want them to know. And I said, just let them know. I'll call them after 3. Whatever it is, let them know when you can get back to them. That's how you keep
another level. This is another level, guys. This has to have a part 2. I hope you guys come and see me tomorrow at Legends for our Naples edition of Winners Wednesday Productivity Bootcamp. We're going to be there from 10 to 12. And in closing, I just want to thank the both of you for your generosity, for your transparency, for bringing your story, your message, for giving those amazing tips. Lauren, again, this Friday. Joshua, you're going to be there. I'm going to get my ticket. We all need to be there. Tell us the name of the event again.
Mind Your Business at the Luminary Hotel. If anybody needs to figure out how to get tickets, send you an email and I'm going to send you the link. Okay, Luz?
Absolutely. Yes.
And of course, anyone can call me anytime as well. Okay.
Yes. Let's show up. Let's support Lauren and the great lineup of people that are putting this event together at the Luminary Hotel. If anybody needs more information, everyone go follow Lauren, go follow Joshua. They're in Naples, but together we're better. And let's close it out with the information on the event. And I will see you guys on Friday. So thank you guys.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, everybody. It's nice and chilly. Stay warm.
Yes.
I'm Lauren Maxwell, and I am so excited to be a keynote speaker at Mind Your Business. I am living the American dream. I started my business in 1987. At the very bottom of my field, I am in a very different place in 2025. I'd love to share with you my ups and downs and how I made it to the top. So when John Huffman called me and asked me to be a speaker at Mind Your Business, it was an easy answer, yes. Come see me. Looking forward to it. January 23rd, 2026 at the Luminary Hotel. Let's do this.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren Maxwell, and I am with the Maxwell Mortgage team in the state of Florida for 36 years, and I help people finance the American dream. Let me help you. I look forward to meeting you.
Red Sun Insurance. Dándote el poder de crecer. Red Sun Insurance. RedSunInsurance.com.
Red Zone Insurance tiene increíbles oportunidades de franquicias y queremos compartirlas contigo. Llama al 305-255-1901 y conocerás el camino a emprender tu propio negocio, tu propia franquicia. 305-255-1901.
Red Zone Insurance.